This is Philip H. Anselmo, and you are listening to Talk to Me with Joshua.
Fucking Toomey, Josh Toomey.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into Talk to Me. This is episode 212. The guest this week is Michael Gilbert of Flotsam and Jetsam. They have a great new album out called The End of Chaos. It was released back in January, and it holds up. It is so good. The songs I saw them play live were amazing. So make sure and check out The End of Chaos out now on all of your streaming platforms, or go pick up a physical copy where you can. And like I said, they came through town a few weeks ago, and I got a chance to go sit down with Michael Gilbert on their bus. So yes, you get some of our famous bus hum in the background of this interview, but it's not so bad. So it was a good time sitting and chatting with Michael. And a quick chat. And we also have, you guys know that the Talk to Me podcast is also live Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern on uncontrollednoise.com. The links are on the Facebook page. I'll retweet them on Twitter, all that stuff. But make sure to check it out, uncontrollednoise.com. It's not the podcast in its entirety. It's more of a music-based show, still under the same name, because that's my name. And we have special guests on there and play music and all that good stuff. So I've got my segment with Bakko from Cobras and Fire. I will be playing as kind of a precursor to what we do over on the live Talk to Me show over on uncontrollednoise.com. And as you guys know, the Talk to Me podcast is brought to you by our good friend Scott Bowling. Yes, good company with bowling down in Atlanta, Georgia. So much good stuff going on over there. I will play the bumper now.
My name is Scott Bowling. I have a show called Good Company. Good Company is a show where we film artists in the rock genre, and we talk about their first record all the way to where they are now. We've interviewed bands like Korn and Seven Dust and Rich Ward. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook under Good Company or Good Company with Bowling. So please, if you get a chance, check it out.
Good Company!
And once again, just a huge thank you to Scott for sponsoring the show for so long and to helping out with show costs, production costs, all that good stuff. And make sure you're checking out Good Company with Bowling and letting him know that the Talk to Me podcast sent you. So up first, we are going to chat with Bakko from Cobras and Fire. Get into some Flotsam and Jetsam, some classic Flotsam and Jetsam. Talk to Michael Gilbert of Flotsam and Jetsam. And then I will play a couple of tunes and talk to you guys momentarily.
You are listening to Talk to Me on Uncontrolled Noise.
All right, guys, you got to love some Sepultura live here on Uncontrolled Noise. Talk to Me live, Uncontrolled Noise. So let's see if we can get Bakko on the line here. Let's see here, a little Skype action. Turn him down. Hello, Bakko.
Hey, man.
All right. We have a connection. Oh, my God.
Are we live?
We are live. You are live on Talk to Me on Uncontrolled Noise. How do you feel about that?
Well, a little aroused. I don't know, about a half chub.
Half chub? I see that Hollow Dio might be going from 6 to midnight with this the Sharon Osbourne face. What is she getting? It says she's getting a new face. I obviously didn't open it up, but is she getting some plastic surgery? What's going on?
Yeah, apparently another facelift is in the works. So, Hollow. We've made some jokes on the show that Dio was secretly banging Sharon behind Ozzy's back, and now the hologram Dio is happy to step in.
Man, I can't believe it. I'm so excited for Hollow Dio.
Yeah, is it coming your way?
No, I'm saying I'm excited for him that she's getting a facelift.
Yeah, finally going to get some. Yeah, but he wasn't interested unless she was going to, tighten things up a little bit.
Got to do a little repair. You can't just go through life without doing a little work here and there. She's probably in her 60s.
Oh, at least, and Hollow Dio has standards.
Very high standards at that.
Hollow junk into any old crevice, it's...
You don't want to get like a hollow STD, Well, how's it been going, man? It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Toomey. I haven't talked to you in a little while.
It's been a minute. And you've pretty much taken a break from Cobras and Fire for like 2 weeks now. So so my Bakko isms is very low.
Yeah, we were riding high there, and then I got hit with some kind of funky thing that I'm still kind of coming out of a little bit. But fear not, the full-on Cobras and Fire returns the next Tuesday. We have a fantastic episode all lined up. And also, Luce just did a great interview with John Corabi, which was our episode this week. So,
yeah, he did a great job. I actually, it's kind of funny. You were listening to the throwback Bruce Kulick interview, and he came out of the gate really good at interviews. I was really surprised to kind of go back and listen. Because most people go back and listen to the early stuff, and it's kind of cringeworthy. But kind of listening to it again, you're like, man, Luce came out the cannon. Firing on all cylinders or something,
I totally agree. I mean, it was only by more happenstance that I ended up doing like pretty much a full run of 2018 where he didn't do any interviews. Because we try to share him as much as we can, but yeah, I mean, he seems like he's got a knack for it.
So the actual Talk to Me podcast guest that was released today was Chris Sinzak, Decibel Geek Podcast, Rockin' Pod Expo.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he does good stuff. He does good work, and it was announced on that episode that I've officially thrown down my ducats and will be at the Rockin' Pod Expo 2019. And hopefully get to hang out with one Bakko, man. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, hopefully our tables are close again this year. Yeah, of course we're going to spend some time. We'll get a chance to catch up. It's always good to meet up with all the podcasters that I've gotten to know through the last couple years of the Rockin' Pod. But yeah, you and I have kind of struck up a friendship before all that, so it's always good to spend any time with you I can because just a huge man crush, buddy.
Well, you're already on the show. You don't have to kiss my ass any more than you already are. So.
All right. Well, if my wife is listening, at least now I can move on.
You're going to check out some of that Nashville squish?
Yeah, there you go.
She needs to come down too. She can check it out too.
Hey, man. That's maybe your thing, but it's a couple days where I get to hang out with my bros.
Right, bro down.
It's a bro down, yeah.
Cool.
No, I'm looking forward to it. You got anything special planned or?
Nothing so far. I mean, it's the like I said, I just now finally, mustered up the cash to sign up for it this year, and right. It'll all come together. You know how I do. I fly by the seat of my pants with the show and life and everything else. So
yeah, you show up with your hat backwards and 2 microphones. You're ready to go.
Yeah, everybody else pulled out like all this gear, and I'm like, oh, I gotta zoom and 2 microphones. Let's see what we can do.
Well, last year you and I crammed into our own little booth we shared. That worked out okay.
Yeah, I was about to say we couldn't get any closer tables as last year because
yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the year before our tables were sort of next to each other, but yeah, last year we were because I went sans loose. You and I shared a booth.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That was absolutely drink, right?
Absolutely drink. Yeah,
that is the worst. The worst thing when I'm editing podcasts, I say absolutely so much. I edit a lot of those out, but yeah, it's a hard word to get away from.
It is. Another one for me is Indeed. For whatever reason, I like to throw that one around. Apparently, that sounds better than yes.
I like it. It's funny those little words like that. But I think I'd rather get like my own word, like Indeed. You could make a shirt out of that, but when you say absolutely every other time, that's like every interviewer ever, absolutely. So with this new album,
absolutely, I couldn't agree more.
So you want to get into a little news while we're at it?
Yeah, what's on your docket there?
All right. Well, there's some dock in on this. Blabbermouth reports Slipknot's Corey Taylor says he blew out his left testicle while singing. The story says Slipknot frontman Corey Taylor claims to have suffered an unfortunate injury less than a month after undergoing surgery on both knees. The singer took to Twitter on Wednesday, May 29th, to say that he blew out a testicle while practicing vocals for Slipknot's upcoming European tour, which kicks off next week at Rockfest somewhere in Finland. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. He wrote, "Working on my 87 Dokken high notes this morning, fucked around and blew out the left testicle. Careful on the re-entry, kids." And then he added the hashtags "Kiss of Death" and "Piss and Blood." So how do you feel like this is any kind of truth?
No, it's just a goofy tweet from Corey, but I would like to tease a little bit that on an upcoming episode of Cobras and Fire, we will be having an exclusive interview with his right testicle, who has, basically a breakdown of the whole thing. No, I mean, to me, this almost validates, because Corey gets a lot of shit. It's like, oh, of course, what does Corey Taylor think anytime he makes a blabbermouth headline? But the fact that this was picked up by Blabbermouth, Brave Words, other media outlets, iHeartRadio, I think, picked it up. it's just a jokey tweet.
Right.
Ron Keel said they took my balls out on my show. It'd be like if Blabbermouth ran with that and said Ron Keel's balls were taken out by Emerald Sabbath.
Right.
He's just making a joke, people, and it just proves that, if you want a headline, just get Corey Taylor to say it.
And then if you
what a headline!
No, that's a great headline, and it's funny that they actually run with stuff like that, because I mean I think that's like a joke tweet that you and I might write too, so it's not like it's not too crazy. But from the official Dokken page, Don posted Don sends his sympathies to Corey. So Dokken, I mean the only winner in all of this is going to be Dokken, because the mighty Slipknot maggot army is now going to want to find out who this Dokken is, and they're going to go back, and then a resurgence in Dokken, and the corpse of Dokken is going to explode back onto the scene.
Well, what happened to Dokken's voice, and did he actually cut his testicles off and eat them? Because he can't hit those notes anymore either. And it sounds like something's logged in his throat is where I was going there.
Yeah, I'm sure Don Dokken has no testicles at this point, so he can that's why he can no longer hit the high notes. They what's that?
They rotted and fell off the corpse. So
the wife of Dokken now carries them around in her purse, which she has done since about 1993, probably.
He's had to have at least 8 wives since then.
It's funny listening to a classic metal show. They talk a lot about Don, and I guess Don Dokken lives in the Beverly Hills, the hills of Beverly or wherever, near Gene Simmons. And I'm like, how does Don Dokken have the money to live anywhere near Gene Simmons? That just does not make any sense to me.
You can park the Winnebago anywhere.
I mean, it's a nice Winnebago by the Starbucks dumpster in the back there, down the hill from Gene's house.
Yeah, he's living in one of those camper trailers that Mel Gibson did in Lethal Weapon.
I'm getting
in Gene's backyard.
I'm getting too old for this shit, Bakko.
He cleans Gene's office for rent or something. Yeah.
So, in another and some more pressing headlines, it looks like Vinnie Vincent's not doing his show like we all knew he was going to play it. So I don't know what happened. It must have really been the promoter this time.
I heard something really it sounds almost unbelievable, but only 8 or 12 tickets or something like that were sold to the thing. Yeah,
there was supposedly a guy. I guess there were 60 tickets available, and about a week ago, a guy went on and he tried to buy 60, couldn't do it. He entered 59, couldn't do it. I think he got to 52, and he could do it. So yeah, it's an insane story, and I think you and I have talked about this on here, on your show, on my show, on Chris's show, on the Decibel Geek podcast. He had the world in the palm of his hand, ready to come back and be, the return of Vinnie Vincent, and he came back and did exactly what he did the first time, and almost did it tenfold this time. He pissed off everyone that likes him, all the podcasts that would be in his corner, all the fans that continue to buy these stupid, live show packages and, going to Memphis to see the show.
Yeah.
2 nights in Memphis down to 60 seats in Nashville. And it's just like he just continues to shoot himself in the foot.
Yeah, and he validated every criticism that there was. At least you can almost make a devil's advocate argument in his favor, because we didn't know, because he was in hiding, and it's like, well, maybe Gene and Paul are dicks, and maybe all this stuff. We know firsthand now that like this guy is as shady as he's ever been portrayed, and it sounds like, at least with this last time, like basically even his biggest fans are going, I don't think so, Vinny. Yeah, you're right. He pissed off the one group of people that were given a mini pub when he came back, and he had kind of a nice little love affair with the fans again after Atlanta, and that's the podcasters. So and he went after a friend of ours, Chris Sinzak, with pretty much a bunch of unfounded allegations, and then continued to fuck over people left and right, basically taking money from promoters. He keeps working with this Derek Christopher guy who's got a bit of a sketchy background. But I don't know that he was the problem here, but I just know that he has had unsatisfied customers pretty much everywhere he's went.
Yeah, and I will say that he probably has 0 testicles at this time also, so.
But is that a pantsuit joke?
That might have been a surgery. That was an elective.
Yeah. That stuff aside, though, who cares? Do what you want to do. But you had the love and adoration of people that did care about you and didn't forget about you. And then, I just don't get it, because nobody was talking about Vinnie Vincent other than podcasts.
Yeah.
And so what does he do? He pisses off all the podcasts.
You're a guitar player, and I've fiddled around with a guitar here and there. Seeing him play with that 4x8 when he got up with them, and I just don't think he can play. Like I think the any of these shows should have been hyped up with a 30-second Instagram video of a couple of shredding licks or something, but just watching him with that 4x8, it looked like he'd never held a guitar before.
Yeah, that definitely didn't help. I think in his mind, because I do think, he's mentally off somewhere, and I want to say that a little more delicately, because it sounds like an accusation. I don't think he's well, and that's my personal opinion. I don't have any insight there, but maybe in the back of his head, he's like, look, I can get it back. All I need is 2 months. It's kind of like someone like, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to join a gym. It's like they just keep kicking the can down the street, and all of a sudden this day the show comes up, and he's like, I don't think I can do this. I should do something else, and I'll just take this money and go into hiding or whatever. But, yeah, you're right about that show with 4x8. It was not a good look for him. I mean, even it was weird that he showed up in his Kiss makeup, but just in a Vinnie Vincent T-shirt, and he's just up there with these guys that sort of know Ace Frehley, and it's just, I don't know, it's weird. He had a hard time going dun 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 on Lick It Up. Played 3 songs, not one with a guitar solo. It's just
yeah, very, very bizarre, man. And it's a long list of things. It's funny.
But real quick,
Go
which
ahead.
is really too bad, because Vinnie Vincent fans have been clamoring to see Speedball Jam live.
Right. All 8 of them.
Yeah, so I actually would encourage anybody listening to go to YouTube and look up Speedball Jam and see how far you make it through the 90-minute song that is Speedball Jam.
Yeah, I will definitely have to look into that. And the thing with Vinny, it's just like Chris, Sinzak and Aaron Camaro did all of those Vinnie Vincent specials over the years. And, that's what I think that's how I found Decibel Geek. I was looking up Vinnie Vincent stuff, and that's how I stumbled upon Decibel Geek. And it was funny that they were from Nashville, and so was I, and we were knew the same people and stuff. But getting into their Vinnie Vincent specials, kind of going back through them, no one ever really had a good word to say about him I think Chris and Aaron tried to, shed, they're fans. They're fans of him. So they weren't trying to just bury him every chance they got. They were trying to actually, shed light on the guy, and hopefully people would be into it too, and maybe he would eventually come out and things like that. But really, he just confirmed everyone's thoughts from over the years. And if you listen to those Decibel Geeks, you're gonna basically hear the same story over and over and over again. So I don't know why any of us would be surprised that he's shady as fuck.
I disagree a little bit that there does seem to be a different tenor between the people who worked with Vinny before Kiss and the people who worked with him after. And I think devil's advocate, without knowing everything, the argument could be made that something happened there, and then Vinny got kind of hooked up with. I mean, Dana Strum doesn't exactly have a positive reputation in the industry, and he was the first guy he hooks up with after Kiss. But I think we're now starting to realize that maybe Vinny didn't have the opportunity to be as shifty and fucky as he was once he got into Kiss, and I just think he's got some sort of personality disorder. Prove me wrong.
Well, he's definitely not doing that. All right, Bakko. Well, what's the future of Cobras and Fire? What do we got coming up?
Oh, we got a lot of fun stuff coming up. We got we got 2 episodes coming up that are just basically our standard kind of we call it the shits and giggle thing, where we just kind of riff for basically an hour. You can look forward to that. We got a couple surprise interviews that I probably shouldn't leak out yet. Hopefully because we're still kind of, they're not recorded, basically. You of all people know what can happen between the good intentions and the actual planning. But we have a surprise pod crash, back-to-back episodes coming up. It's related to Rockin' Pod. That's all I'll say there. And then, of course, at some point, we got to bring you back on. It's been over a year, I think. We missed our Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, Toomey, can we guarantee the people that you and I will do a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame up again in November?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go. So they got that going on. And we just basically today, Loose Cannon texted me, said he took care of claiming the rights to CobrasandFire.com. So, to shorten everything up, if you're ever looking for anything about our show and you like a good laugh and to check out some different music, go to CobrasandFire.com. It takes you right to our SoundCloud page, but it has all of our social media links and everything there. So,
did you ask me the question? But do you guys have anything special for Rockin' Pod?
We do have a couple of things in the work. We've always had some fun with merch. Last year we had Shoney wipes, which for people that don't know are basically the testicle butt area wipes. And the year before, the jerk socks were a big thing. So we're trying to come up with something in that kind of vein that people can kind of grab from a table for free, and then talk about what a couple of idiots we are. But so we do have a couple of things that we're definitely going to be showing up with. As far as swag. Beyond that, I'm with you, man. I want to hang out and catch up with people I haven't seen in a while. Taking the pre-party, we got the Rock and Roll Residency kind of playing as themselves, and I've seen them with Gene. I've never got to see them kind of do their show, so I'm looking forward to that. I think Michael Sweet is going to pop up on stage with that. I'm actually looking forward to getting a couple minutes with Michael Sweet. It sounds like he has a man crush on me, and I want to make sure I put that to rest. And since Ron Keel's not going to be there, I need someone to take a hot tub with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Ron's going to be sad if he finds out that you were double dipping with Michael Sweet in a hot tub and a couple of Miller Lights. Man, it's going to be sad times.
It's like, who are you floating those beers with?
Well, cool, man.
No, we'll definitely miss Ron Keel. He was a highlight last year.
Well, man, thanks for taking some time out here on Talk To Me on uncontrollednoise.com. Pick a song off of Lick It Up for me to play you out with.
Not for the Innocent.
Not for the Innocent. All right, man. Well, Bakko, man, thanks for taking the time, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on, Toomey, and Skol, go Vikes. Let's talk football sometime.
Yeah, next week we can we'll break down the AFC West or something.
Okay. Take care.
All right, man. Talk to you. All right, huge thank you to Bakko of Cobras and Fire for coming on the show. So let's listen to a little Kiss off of Lick It Up. This is Not for the Innocents. right, guys, we are sitting here with Michael Gilbert of Flotsam and Jetsam here at their stop in Louisville, Kentucky. Michael, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. It was fun. We were just kind of talking about it and, the personnel changes of the band. And I will say that, you guys may have had your turnover, but when I had the Annihilator on the show, their past members read like it was like 2 or 3 pages of past members, so it's not that bad. But
fortunately, it's not that bad. But yeah, we have had some personnel changes in the past. From the start. Obviously everybody knows the Newstead story started off with us, and then up until now, the current lineup, it's probably the best lineup that we've had since, with the addition of Conley in the band and Ken Mary. It's definitely a comfortable band to play in.
Let's talk a little bit about End of Chaos. The one thing that I've noticed about not only the End of Chaos, but so much new metal out right now is the sound of metal currently with the recording techniques and the processes you guys have. How has that enhanced what you guys do?
It's like it goes back to the lineup thing. We've got 5 guys in the band that all do something. Whereas in the past it wasn't always like that. So the strength in it is basically the 5 of us. Songwriting skills, Ken Mary brings to the band now, and Steve Conley, his guitar riff writing. That's our strength right now, and that's kind of the last record, the self-titled record, to this one. It was kind of a stepping stone to this record. This record's going to be a stepping stone to the next one, which is going to be even better.
With this latest album, you had said in another interview that you guys did like 40 or 50 songs. Are those like other songs that didn't make this album kind of carried over to the new album? How are you going to do that?
No, we always do it totally fresh.
Yeah.
Unless AK's got something that he's been working on that he wants to throw in there. Me and Steve will start fresh with the riffs and submit them on over to AK.
Do you do like a Flotsam and Jetsam vault at this point? Are you going to, like a Gene Simmons type deal, you're going to go out with the Flotsam and Jetsam vault? I
don't know about that. If we don't work on a song for that year, it usually just gets kind of pushed to the side, so we don't work on it anymore. Start fresh every time.
One thing I wanted to talk to you about is, you said you joined this band at 17, and then by like the time you were 19, you're on tour with Megadeth, and going back to that time, how crazy was that for you at the time? Basically joining before you're 18, and then by the time you're not even 20, and you're already world touring it with Megadeth.
It was definitely crazy. We had Newstead calling my parents asking if I could go to Hollywood. He was he was asking my mom, "Can we take Mike to Hollywood?" So I had to get the okay from my parents. And after that, 2 years after that, we started touring with Megadeth after the No Place for Disgrace record came out, and definitely crazy, definitely fun times, and a really great time for metal.
Did you just feel like that was normal and natural at the time? Like this is what I do, or did you realize the magnitude of what you were doing at the time?
None of us knew what we were doing. It's all new. Metal was just coming up. There was no template for it. We had no guidelines to follow. We were just going for it.
You've mentioned Newstead a couple of times, and the one thing that I really got into metal about 91, and Black Album, I was 12, so that's like, the turning point from Kiss into like the heavier stuff. And the way I get into a band, I'm going to get into the band, I'm going to learn the members. I see Jason Newstead, and I see like, formerly of Flotsam and Jetsam. Who is this Flotsam and Jetsam? And then you kind of go down the rabbit hole, Exodus the same way, and, Megadeth, that's the offshoot of Metallica, the kind of the family tree of Metallica. Did you always see that as a blessing or a curse, that being kind of lumped in with them?
It was a curse up until a few years back, where I think people finally understood that this wasn't Jason Newstead's band. He was a member. He was a 1/5 member, just like everybody else. He didn't do more or less than anybody. And I think we've kind of proven that over the years, Not that we really felt we needed to prove it. We've always had our own identity with him or without him.
Was the story of the when he went off to audition and came back, and I think you guys had, lack of a better term, a vision board or a quote board or some sort of board up, and then it came back and you guys had some disparaging notes for him on this board.
We were always pretty positive about him going, who wouldn't take that opportunity and run with it? it's a great opportunity for the guy, and all we can do is wish him all the luck. He's even more than a band member, he's a friend. So
when you guys go out with Megadeth, was there a lot of like Metallica talk at that time? With Dave and you guys?
No, no. Dave was always he was super cool to us. He was, he kind of took us under his wing when they did a show in Phoenix. We played that show with them, and then from then on out, he was like, "I'm taking you guys with me." So we did tons and tons of shows with him. So he was always very good to us.
What year did you leave Flotsam originally?
Oh shoot, when did I leave? They fired me yesterday.
Every other day.
Right after the show.
I don't know. It was like 97, I think.
Okay.
Something about right.
Because I was thinking you guys. So you would have been like all the way through Megadeth, and when you guys took out Korn, like when Korn was a baby band and stuff like that.
No, actually, they took us out. That was a Megadeth tour as well. Megadeth, Korn, us, and Fear Factory. And that was cool to see. It's been really cool to see Korn over the years grow, because they were just totally green on that tour. They had never toured before.
It's like
pretty interesting.
95-ish.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's in that. Yep.
Because I think I saw them, the first time I saw them live would have been opening for Ozzy in 96.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they were still
they just blossomed. They sprouted, man.
So leaving the band, what did you do at that point? Where did you go?
I never stopped writing. I was always still doing some sort of music, but I had other things going on, personal stuff going on, kids, divorce, just typical life shit, and that was that. So they continued. They got a guy to replace me, Mark Simpson, who did. I think he did. How many records did Simpson do? 2 or 3? Yeah. But he still didn't play my guitar solos right. Fucking guy. No, I'm kidding. He's an awesome musician, man. He was super talented guy, great songwriter.
Yeah. And then obviously, ultimately, he came back in 2010?
Yep.
So what brought you back to the fold?
AK called me up, said, "Dude, got to get this thing going again." So I'm like, all right.
Bring it. That kind of brings me to that point where, we're at an age of, do you guys do the Kemper thing, or are you guys still, so, you got Kempers, you got, I feel like obviously this is a full-on tour right now, but a band like Flotsam and Jetsam, a name, can go out and do a festival, do a short run, and, with Kempers and things like that, it's that much easier to do this type of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything's portable for us right now. We can throw it on an airplane, and our guitar sounds, we can take them with us now. As before, you'd have to have something waiting there for you. Either something Mesa Boogie or some just something crazy, and you never know what you're going to get when it's a backline company or a rental company. So the Kempers just guarantee Steve and I have the same sound every night.
With the advent of this, does that make you coming back to the band that much easier to do stuff like this?
Oh yeah, my kids are growing up too. I can pretty much do whatever I need to do with the band.
I think that's even talking to like Mike Howe of Metal Church, he's kind of the same way. It's like now all my kids are grown up, I can do whatever I want, and to go on tour. So it makes like, and this resurgence of like your era thrash metal bands. It seems like that's like a common theme between everybody. Everybody's home life is at least somewhat settled. The kids are a little bit older, things like that.
When everybody says the Seattle grunge movement came in and it destroyed metal, I don't know if I really believe that or not. Yeah. But there was a time when metal was definitely on the, it was going downhill. People weren't listening to it. They weren't buying it. And
except me.
There was diehard fans out there that kept it going. And fortunately, from what they did, it's on the uprise again right now. It's making a big comeback.
Well, I was thinking, I saw, you guys have been doing a lot of touring with Overkill, and I remember seeing Overkill in like 95 at a 1,200 capacity club that maybe had 100 people in it, so it made it look even worse.
That shit happens, man.
And then, now even those guys are probably some of the peak of their career almost, like with their like a resurgence of Overkill, of all bands, and so it's cool to see you guys, Overkill, everybody else kind of out doing this again.
Yep, yeah. We all have our shows where there's 5 people. If it doesn't get advertised, if people don't know, they can't go.
Right.
So It's a tough business, especially in the United States. That doesn't happen in Europe. You play a show in Europe and people show up. They're very well informed and they've got their thumb on the business. They know who's out there. They know who's playing. They know who's coming to visit them in Europe. Here, not so much. I'm not dogging where I live, but I kind of am. It's
right. No, it's definitely like that. And I remember we did when I was talking about Primer 55 earlier. We did a quote unquote reunion tour in like 07, after we broke up for 5 years, and it was the same thing. Like, you show up to the club, if there was posters everywhere, there was going to be 200 kids there. But if you show up and there was nothing and you just had a feeling, there was going to be 5.
Yep.
But what's weird about those 5 is those 5 are diehard fans, and they're singing every word. So it's very odd to try and play a show to 5 people that are into it, but you're also like, it's 5 people,
Well, you never know who's going to show up either. That's the thing. You've always got to do 100% show and make it count every time, whether there's 5 people or 500.
Yeah.
We did a show in Jacksonville a few years back, and it was Jacksonville, Florida. Not advertised well at all. It was a bad bar. It was a bad decision to go there. But, people bought tickets, so, we still played. We had the pep talk. Give it our all, make sure we do it. And we did. We went out and we crushed it. And Jim Root was in the audience.
Oh, nice.
So it's like you just don't know who's going to be watching you.
Right.
So always, pedal to the metal, always.
Yeah, it's a different scenario when you're in like a local band playing your first show in front of 5 people, as opposed to what I always said that those guys were that came out to those 5, 10, 20 people shows were people that never got to see the band the first time, and so they're having the time of their life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even though inside you're destroyed because you're playing in front of 20 people.
Yeah, so. You got to get over that though. It's like that. It's a hard thing to get over, but yeah, you gotta press onward.
Coming back in 2010, the last 9 years of being back in the band, how has that been for you? Kind of coming back to what is essentially like, I'm assuming, a huge part of you, being that you joined originally when you were 17.
Yeah, I mean, it was my baby back then, and it still is. I wrote a lot of songs in my off time. I never stopped playing. So that stuff got incorporated into Ugly Noise, which is the record that when I came back. And Newstead's on that too. I had some collaborations with Jason. I don't know. It's just in my blood. Even if I quit the band or something happened, if the band stopped today, I'd still be playing. I mean, there's no way I could stop. It's a bad drug, I guess.
With the interview you did with Chris Aiken, you had brought up that you had been doing some EDM stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like sequences and stuff like that, and kind of Nine Inch Industrial, Nine Inch Nails. Yeah.
How much did you delve into that world?
There's some on Ugly Noise, but didn't take too well with this band. It's not an industrial band, but I'm heavily into the Rammstein kind of music, The Static X.
Do you have your own studio? I know that there's a Flotsam studio, it said. So is it your studio, or is
there's
it like
3 of them.
like a collective?
Steve Conley's got one.
Yeah.
I've got one, and then Ken Mary, the drummer's got one too. He's got the big boy with the SSL board. He can do drums there. And
so this latest album, did you record this latest album? Is this something, or
no? It's all us.
Was it sharing files over the internet? Was it all getting together? How was that?
Sharing files and then trying our best performances. Me and Steve have nice, healthy competition for guitar solos, because it's kind of a known thing. Like if you wrote the song, if you wrote the riff or whatever to start the song off, that you do the main guitar solo in it, right?
Nice.
So, but we always try to gift each other another part and say, hey, why don't you do a solo here during these times? And he'll send the wave file out to me, and he'll with this kick-ass solo that he does. So I got to try to top that shit. And the next thing you know, he's trying to top me, and it becomes a little bit of a competition there. And in the end result is actually the best performances that we could possibly do, so.
Some of the stuff that I heard on this last album, some of the coolest, heaviest stuff I've heard in a long time, with all the noodly stuff and, the guitar work. With every band kind of sounding the same, everybody can use the same plugins, everybody can use the same, guitar tones. We were talking Kempers and stuff earlier.
Hopefully we don't sound the same as everybody else.
I'm not saying that you do. I'm just saying everybody sounds good. Back in the day, Doomsday sounded good because you guys played well. Now bands can sound good and then play live and then be a hunk of trash.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, totally. Well, you've seen us play a couple times, right? So, we take a lot of pride in our live show, I guess. You know, even though in the earlier days, in the late '80s and early '90s, we weren't really a studio band. We were more of a live band, and so that's kind of where our realm is. We're a live band.
How was Phoenix 10, 20 years ago as compared to now?
Oh, it's booming. Everybody thought it was going to be the next LA.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to that. It just cycles, how things all work out. It didn't become that. Everybody moved there. Everybody's moving from Los Angeles to Phoenix, but yet it was more like maybe a summer home for people, for the big rock stars and the LA faces.
Yeah, I don't hear about it as much anymore, but obviously Dave Mustaine had their place there, and Gloria and Max Cavalera out there. I think they're still there. They seem like everybody at one point was in Phoenix, and then I think everybody's in Nashville now. So
Nashville is the place. Yep.
Yeah, there for a while, man. Phoenix was like the booming metal capital of the world.
Yep.
One thing I read on Wikipedia, I guess, it was a video was shot at Gloria's club, which I never knew that she owned a club. Was that how, I'm assuming, her and Max met?
I don't know how they met, but we met Gloria. We played their bar. It was called the Bootlegger back in the day, and we played there, and we did a battle of the bands, and we ended up winning the battle of the bands. So she put up the money for us to do the recording, which was our original, our demo, Doomsday demo, which was 4 songs, and that was what we used to send out to Brian Slagle and Metal Blade, and everybody else on the planet got one of those things, and it got us signed. We ended up getting with Metal Blade. But yeah, Gloria she started that whole thing for us.
Wow.
So
yeah, she gets a bad rap sometimes, through Sepultura fans or Soulfly fans, but she's always been great to me, and
she's always been great to us too. We're still friends. I mean, all these years later.
So the plans this year for Flotsam and Jetsam and going forward.
Well, we're going to finish this tour up. We got 2 more weeks on this thing of the United States and Canada, and then we're off for 3 trips to Europe from July to September, and then we're hopefully back in the States the later part of the year, earlier part of next year. We got lots of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, it seemed like everything I read, it was like a new album in the works, all that stuff, and the touring. And well, Michael, man, it's been great having you on the show.
Thanks
Josh. Thanks for taking the time, all that good stuff, and good luck with everything.
Killer, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, this is Kyle from Hell Yeah, and I'm with your boy Josh Toomey with Talk To Me. Get it.
I sorta like deceiving and all this tragic loss. I wanna find some patience, but kill the feelings off. I wanna drown in praise, but never really deliver. I wanna feel insane, insane. So long to go, you know. No matter how I cling to life, I'm not fooling anyone. I'm not original anymore. I'm not original anymore. And when the well is dead and dry, I'll keep begging you to start a war. I'm not original anymore. I'm not original anymore. Do I start it over before I self-destruct? Or what's the perfect way to say I'm lost? I just give up. Yeah, I wanna try and change the vanity in the mirror. I know you feel the same, insane. So long to go, you know. No matter how I cling to life, I'm not fooling anyone. I'm not original anymore. I'm not original anymore. And when the well is dead and dry, I'll keep begging you to start a war. I'm not original anymore. I'm not original anymore. One by one they fall. Use your words for war. Chasing open doors for what it's worth. No matter how I cling to life, I'm not fooling anyone. I'm not original anymore. I'm not original anymore. And when the well is dead and dry, I'll keep begging you to start a war. I'm not original anymore. I'm not original anymore.
All right, huge thank you to Bakko from Cobras and Fire for coming on the show. Make sure to check us out live Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern, uncontrollednoise.com. You can check it out a few different places. There's even a Roku channel. So go to your Roku, go to your smart TV, look up the Uncontrolled Noise channel, and you can listen to me on your television. Also, huge thank you to Michael Gilbert of Flotsam and Jetsam fame for coming on the show. Make sure you are checking out their latest album, The End of Chaos, out now. AFM Records. And check them out on tour, man. They were so good live. Eric AK's voice stands the test of time. Fantastic band. And so go check them out if they come through your town. I believe they're doing some touring with Overkill soon. So a huge thank you from me to you for checking out the Talk To Me podcast. And so until next Thursday, I am Joshua Toomey. This has been the Talk To Me podcast, and I will talk to you soon.